So it's a real pleasure to welcome Eva Bordos. Eva is the director of DemNet in Hungary, and has, even in the context of the sort of Hungarian political system, has managed to run 3 very successful climate-related assemblies. And Eva is going to talk to us about the challenging task of selecting and presenting evidence. So Eva, the floor is yours. Thank you so much.
Graham. Thanks so much. So I know that I have absolutely no chance of being as funny as Mark was yesterday, but I do hope that we are going to spend a useful and interesting 1.5 hours together now. And yeah, just a couple of words about us. So I work for DemNet, a small independent Hungarian NGO. And we were established back in 1996 with the aim of boosting active citizenship and enhancing cross-sectoral dialogue and citizen empowerment. And we started focusing on deliberative democracy in 2017 as part of an EU-funded project. And since then, I'm very proud to say that together with our civil society partners and experts and activists, I think we played a quite pioneering role in introducing deliberative mini-publics and citizens' assemblies to Hungary. As Graham mentioned, we have organized 3 local-level citizens' assemblies so far. The first one was in our capital city in Budapest. The second one was in Miskolc, the 4th largest city in Hungary, with lots of social issues. And the third one was in Érd, which is actually the most dynamically developing city in Hungary in terms of population growth. All 3 assemblies were climate-related. The very first one, the one that we organized in Budapest in 2020, in the middle of the pandemic, you see the mayor and the deputy mayors, the bottom right, wearing masks. So that citizen assembly was on a quite broad topic, namely how Budapest should tackle the climate crisis and what Budapest residents would want to see in the cities then forming climate concept or climate strategy. The second citizen assembly in Miskolc dealt with air pollution and mostly covered the topics of transport, heating, and waste burning. And the third assembly in Érd dealt with transport and infrastructure, city infrastructure issues. Right. And now back to our main topic, namely how we present evidence and what to do about knowledge curation and the dilemmas around these topics. So why do we need to talk about these issues? First, we all know that climate and climate crisis is a complicated issue with lots of contested solutions and challenges. So the big question is, how best to select and present different types of evidence to, if you did your sortition right, to a diverse body of citizens with a very different background and understanding of the topic and ability to learn. So what we see is that the curation of evidence within assemblies so far has not really received proper attention and sustained attention. So there's a growing need and appetite for guidance, specifically on how evidence is selected, namely who selects evidence and witnesses, and according to what principles, and what format the evidence should take, and also what role the experts and witnesses should play in the whole process. So I think it's important first to differentiate between experts and stakeholders and witnesses. So experts generally are seen as independent specialists who ideally enjoy kind of a recognition within their expert community on that given topic the assembly is organized on, and they have to have great public speaking skills, something that we should definitely not underestimate. because you can have the most knowledgeable person in the room. If that person can't speak and can't really get the message out right, then your session is doomed. So, and of course, I think it should go without saying that altogether your expert panel or expert group should be gender balanced, interdisciplinary, and there should be a junior expert balance as well. Stakeholders and witnesses, on the other hand, are usually representatives of civil society organizations, pressure groups, trade unions, chambers, and or representatives of a public company, or in our cases, there were some people from municipality background institutions, or they can also be a citizen with a story to tell. As said, the topic is complex, especially when we organize climate assemblies. So we as organizers or you as commissioners obviously do not have the knowledge, the relevant scientific knowledge to decide on every angles of the topics to cover. So you want to rely on a knowledge committee or expert body or lead experts who help you organize the learning phase of the assembly and define what evidence is necessary to be out there, and also they help you identify relevant presenters and the topics to cover. What roles should these people have throughout the process? So the experts are there to provide facts, offer an overview of the topic, present arguments from various angles, as discussed, often opposition, who held opposition views on a given issue. And they're also there to enable your citizens, your assembly members, to formulate recommendations later on in the process. In the case of Érd, the Citizens' Assembly, the commissioner who was responsible for the city climate issues said it very well when he told in a video that we may or may not see at the end of this session. He told in the video that it was really a fantastic experience for him to see that collective wisdom being born, so a wisdom that enabled participants to see when it is them to come up with a decision, or when to go back to the experts and seek their help and advice. So stakeholders and witnesses are there to ensure that the diversity of perspectives is presented, and these are often value-driven viewpoints, personal stories, who also, provide and contribute to the variety of angles to cover. The big question is how to select experts and witnesses. And in the case of our assemblies, our local level assemblies, we followed this method, that we started with a closed stakeholder meeting. That happened when we more or less identified the topic together with the municipality. And we already had our lead experts, 2 lead experts. But we really wanted to narrow the topic down and wanted to get as much input and as many views as possible on that given topic from local stakeholders and interested parties. So we organized a half-day-long workshop, interactive workshop with them to see how to narrow the topic down and help identify potential experts and speakers. And after this, we formulated the question, the Citizen Assembly question, together with the municipality and our lead experts, and then published an open call to ensure transparency and to also ensure that anybody could input into the process. And we wanted to hear from interest groups and various stakeholders. And then the lead experts integrated these ideas, and they also invited some of those who provided input to speak at the assembly. So, yeah, a big question is what role experts should play in formulating recommendations. And the most common practice, I think, is that they are there to provide evidence and then leave it up to the members, the citizens, to come up with recommendations. And they are just there to answer questions and provide further input when and if necessary. The French Convention, on the other hand, took a little bit different approach. Their witnesses were actually co-creating proposals together with the CA members. And there's also a third option. In Denmark, Austria, and Spain, if I'm not mistaken, then the draft proposals formulated by the CA members were reviewed by the experts, and they provided advice and further, content modification before members developed their final recommendations. So it's a big question how to approach this, and one of the dilemmas when it comes to knowledge curation and presenting evidence. And the big question, another big question, how to present these evidence. So we mentioned previously that you ideally want to work with speakers who can really get the message across and speak well and are easy to follow. That's not always the case, as we have seen and experienced ourselves. So we developed this concept to have a preparation call with all the experts we wanted to speak at the assembly, and us as organizers, the lead facilitator and the lead experts were kind of like giving a background to the experts on what the Citizen Assembly is about, what they should expect, and how they should approach this whole topic. And we developed a one-pager for them with all the do's and don'ts that they should follow, which means, just the usual. No long, heavy sentences, no English phrases or anglicisms, no jargons, definitely no abbreviations, preferably no graphs and no charts. And I'll show you some bad examples and some good examples on this. And actually, I've come across a study recently on graph illiteracy that said that in the US, graph literacy amongst university students was no higher than 30%, which is like super low. So you can imagine if you have a really diverse group of citizens, what would they make out of a complex graph? So the best practice, as we've seen, is to use pictures, as many pictures as possible, and give examples and best practices. We actually asked our experts to provide best practices and also to present their recommendations in a way, because we thought that this is a transparent way of doing it. And I know that some organizers ask experts not to provide recommendations, that just to stick to facts. We followed a different approach. Whether or not it was a good thing, up to debate again. So and another good thing to do is to involve climate communication experts. In Miskolc, for example, one of our lead experts wasn't a natural scientist, for example. He holds a degree, a PhD in literature and cultural affairs, and that worked really well because he really helped and guided experts and could help them finalize their presentations. And the Austrian Climate Assembly, if I'm not mistaken, also worked with climate communication experts. Okay, another big dilemma is how to get out of the box, basically. As many experts say, and this came up yesterday in a discussion with Marjan, that sometimes when citizens are there in your room, they are basically being put in a box of framework provided by the experts that sets them onto I don't know what path, and it's very difficult to get them out of that box, that framework, that narrative, and very difficult to urge them to be more critical. And in some societies, we also know that that some people, well, how should I put it, rely on expert views and do not dare question what they say, whereas in other countries, people are much more critical and dare to challenge authorities and experts. So there may be one way to tackle this problem or dilemma is to start the citizen assembly with an exercise that enables citizen assemblers to define what the topic means to them personally, and then start the learning phase. So in Érd, what we did was a small section on how the citizen assembly members interpret the words vibrant and green city. That was these words were in the title of the citizen assembly question. And in Budapest, we asked them to describe what the Budapest of their dreams look like. And we really hope that these questions helped them to develop a more critical thinking. And also what is important, I think, is to allow citizen assembly members to request additional experts or stakeholders of their own choice if they want to hear, I don't know, more on a topic, or want to hear a different angle, or just simply, wants to understand something better. And in Denmark, I really liked the way they did that. Is actually they were working with 5 citizen assembly members selected by lottery of those who volunteered, and they took part in the knowledge curation. Of course, when it comes to a longer assembly, especially when the stake is quite high, then it's definitely something that I think it would be worthwhile to follow. In our case, it was impossible because our assemblies were very short. Okay, and another interesting dilemma is the pre-assembly dilemma. Question is whether or not you should provide additional or any kind of resources to your participants before the assembly takes place. And there are pros and cons, of course. The pros can be that this way they would understand the topic better, and they would not feel as intimidated. There are some great advantages in following this method. But on the other hand, there are some cons to this, because some say that you want your citizen assembly members to come as they are, without any further preparation or knowledge, because if they are given some kind of resource before the assembly, then some would read it or go through it, some would not, and that would already kind of like add to the knowledge imbalance that they already have. And some also say that this is the one thing that would intimidate people, especially those who are less familiar with the topic, and would discourage them to participate. In Miskolc and Érd, what we were doing is to attach a 2-pager to the invitation letter, not the one that, not the materials that the citizen assembly members were receiving right before the assembly, but to the invitation letter that was sent out to the wider population, so 10,000 people in our case. And in this 2-page long letter written by our lead experts, it was explained why the topic has relevance to them and to their lives, and why they should register and sign up to the Citizens Assembly in the first place. Okay, and some examples on how to present evidence when you work with experts. So this is actually a slide of one of our experts. And well, so when I first looked at it, I was like, oh my God. So it's not only is it in English, but it's like super complicated. So it takes forever to understand what this thing is about, full of abbreviations, impossible to grasp, basically. So that was the moment when we said that, no, we don't want to see anything like this, We want to see slides like this. And then they should tell the story. They should explain what is what using these images, or this one, or this one. And they just simply a lot better than the graphs full of texts and abbreviations. They catch the sense of the problem quite well. We want that. Okay, and another thing is whenever it's possible, we always try to encourage our experts to illustrate their points and use creative ways to get the message out. And one of my favorite examples is actually the Canadian example on electoral reform that I first heard from Eve. Well, electoral systems and voting systems are usually not the easiest things to understand, right? So what is better to get an understanding of what first past the post is about, is to select the lunch menu items, you know, by using the rules of the electoral system there. And in case of Érd, one of our experts, to illustrate the importance of spatial planning and explain spatial planning, arranged participants in different formations to illustrate the psychological effects of how we perceive our surrounding environment. And that really helped the participants to understand the point. And it was also an energizing thing in the middle of the day. All right, oh yeah, and experts availability. So I think we tried this, and it worked very well in the case of Érd, and Marcin Gerwin also does this in Poland. First they tried this out in Poznan, that they organized, and we also organized an informal session with the experts, lead experts, and the other experts as well from the group. And we organized an informal event where Citizens Assembly members could ask follow-up questions from the experts, could challenge them, and there was a lively discussion on issues, and some issues that have not been covered during the assembly got to address there. It went really, really well. And we also had an informal session on what citizens' assemblies are. We provided international examples, and that also helped citizen assembly members to understand why they are there, and that they are part of now growing international community and movement, and that we believe also increased their engagement. Yeah, and I actually have two videos. One explains the CA process that we did in Miskolc and Érd, and in that video, the lead experts, the deputy mayor, explains the process together with us organizers. That's like a 4.5 minute long video. And there's another one which is a bit shorter, like 2 minute long. That summarizes the thoughts of the Citizen Assembly participants in Érd.
But most of all, I'd really like to thank Eva. I thought it was a brilliant presentation and been really, really great to speak.
Thank you so much.